New developments tonight in the fight against health care fraud in Maine. The State Department of Health and Human Services has suspended payments to 5 MaineCare providers. This follows what officials call, quote, credible allegations of fraud. State officials revealed a wave of recent enforcement actions today. In addition to the 5 suspensions, DHHS enforced 2 emergency provider terminations in June. They also disenrolled 28 agencies that failed to submit a claim within a year of joining the program. But the crackdown does not stop there. DHHS says it's taken licensing enforcement action against 15 personal care agencies, issuing conditional licenses, assessing penalties against 12 of them, and referring one of them to law enforcement. The state also opted not to renew licenses for 2 mental health agencies. The crackdown comes just one day after Dr. Mehmet Oz addressed overbilling in Maine during a Philadelphia press conference. We reached out to the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services for comment, but they have not yet responded.